Well, hello, 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 and welcome to another session for our Dear Future Me program. I am Rhonda Simmons. I am the founder and CEO of the Simmons Empowerment Foundation, and I can't do this all by myself. I have a wonderful dream team with me, and they've been with us every step of the way. And I'll just let them say hello. We have first, of course, ladies first.
Hi, Norma Baker.
Okay. And then we also have two friends, and I'm going to let one introduce the other because they're both great people and they have contributed so much to this program. So we'll start with Joe, and then Joe, you can introduce Robbie.
Absolutely. Thank you, Rhonda. It is my absolute pleasure to be on this call and be part of this amazing group. We truly are committed to helping young people change their lives and become the best versions of themselves, right? As we ourselves grow together. So my name is Joe Elizalde. I'm from Santa Rosa Beach, Florida, and I am a serial entrepreneur. And you'll learn a little more about me. But what I want to do right now, because we have a very special guest today, on this amazing Saturday afternoon. And that is I'm proud to say, my really good friend, one of my mentors. And also, I call him a brother from another mother because we've been in the trenches together for many, many years. We actually are in business together as well. But I want to go ahead and introduce him. Not only is he a human optimization expert, not only is he a coach, not only is he I mean, if I went into all of his accolades, we'd be here all day. But I will tell you this. He is a very, very successful individual and entrepreneur that has been able to create impact in hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands and thousands of lives globally. I know this for a fact. I've been blessed to be able to travel with him and speak on stage with him. So without further ado, I want to bring on Mr. Robby D'Angelo.
Thank you so much, my man. I appreciate that, guys. Like Joe said, my name's Robby D'Angelo, and it's truly, truly an honor to be here. This is one of the most fulfilling, deeply enjoyable things that I can do in my life is helping others. And this opportunity to help, especially where you're at right now in your life, it truly excites me because I know it's been a while, but I do remember where you're at. And I work with a lot of kids that are right where you're at. And it's just such an opportunity for us to be here today to really give you the tools you need to change your life.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, Robbie, I know you have a special message for us today, and we're going to let you just go forth and do you. We can't wait to hear it.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, I'm so excited to be here today because one of the biggest things that I work with a lot of individuals on is in this program so far, you've been learning a lot of tools and you've been setting goals and getting really clear on what you want to accomplish, especially as you transition to this next stage of your life. But what I want to give you today is kind of the mindset behind what you're about to do, because it's so great to have tools and it's so great to have processes and practice interview questions and do all these things. But unless we have the right foundational mindset, we don't have the belief in ourselves. We don't have some of the things that I'm going to talk about today. And here's the sad stat, guys. I hate giving this stat, but this is why it's so important for you to be here. And it's why it's so important for you to learn these lessons is when you set those initial goals. Here's a stat. Only 8% of people who set goals accomplish their goals. Like I said, I hate giving that number out, but that's the truth of it. And what I want to talk to you today, guys, is just real quick, 3 mindset tips to help you finish your goals and go through this process of really stepping up and getting to the next level of your life with confidence and ease. And the first thing I want to talk to you about today, guys, is having a growth mindset. And really what I define a growth mindset as is going into every situation, opportunity, or even perceived setback with a learning mentality. How can I get better through this? How can I improve through this? And I think the best example to give you is, let me ask you this. What would your life look like if instead of having the latest and greatest iPhone, you were stuck with an iPhone 1 or even a flip phone. I know you're way too young to remember flip phones, but what would your life look like if you were stuck with an iPhone 1 and the first operating system that came out on the original iPhone? Life would be tough, wouldn't it? There is no 4G, guys. Like, there is no 5G that's out now. You're stuck downloading things that's going to take you 30 minutes. How would you like to send a picture message to someone and then 30 minutes later them get it? That's what not having a growth mindset would be like going through life. There's a reason on your iPhone you get constant updates. There's a reason you want the latest and greatest iPhone every year. Part of having this growth mindset is wanting the same thing for our own mind. It's wanting to have the latest and greatest operating system for our own belief system, for our own way of thinking. What would change your life if every time you were presented with a decision, you looked at it from the perspective of, how can I learn and get better through this? Even when setbacks come your way, even when challenges come your way, you look at it from the perspective of, how can I get better from this? How can I upgrade my iPhone through this process? So that's the step one that I want you to really think about as we're going through this today, guys. Is have a growth mindset and always, always, always look at every opportunity in your life as a chance for you to get better. And this next thing that I'm going to go into is just an example of how powerful the growth mindset is. And really the second thing I want you to understand today, guys, is this word perseverance. And as I was thinking about where you're at right now, and as I was thinking about some of the challenges that are in front of you, you're going to have some perseverance. And perseverance, for me, and the way I look at it, it's really when challenging times come, you pushing through those challenges. When things don't go your way, you having that growth mindset and saying, okay, it didn't meet my expectations, but how can I get better? And how can I keep going? You know, when we look at the trajectory of our life, guys, it's not going to be easy. I hate to break it to you, right? Life is not sunshine and rainbows, and I think we can all admit that. So if we know that to be a truth, if we know life is not sunshine and rainbows, and we know hard times are going to come, I think perseverance, from just the hundreds of people I've worked with, it's one of the key attributes to success. It's one of the key attributes to you really having what you want in life, because, you know, curveballs are going to come your way and challenges are going to come. And even, you know, through the interviewing process, I hate to break it to you, but you're not going to land every job you interview for. You're not going to submit a resume and that person goes, okay, yeah, you're hired. It's just not the way life works. But if we persevere and we keep going, magic happens. And I want to give you a quick example of that. Think about, you know, he's a little before your time. I know Joe's a huge fan, and you're probably wearing some on your feet right now, but Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan was actually, he didn't make his high school basketball team. Arguably one of the greatest basketball players of all time, didn't even make his high school basketball team. But this is where perseverance kicked in, because he was presented with a decision that you're going to get presented with so many times in your life of, do I quit or do I keep going? It's such a simple decision when we're talking about it right now, but in the moment, it's tough. Do you really think that Michael Jordan got cut from his high school basketball team and was happy about it? No. Do you think he got cut and wasn't in his feels? He absolutely was in his feels. It's not a good moment, but he knew what he wanted. He knew that he was better than getting cut from his basketball team, so he went to work. He went to work to get better. He applied the growth mindset. Yes, this doesn't happen the way I want it to, but I want to get better through this. And I know what I'm capable of, so let me get better. And he persevered through those tough times. Guys, there's so many examples of stories like that, of people having setbacks, but having such a strong vision for their future. Like, you laid out your goals. They have such strong goals that they're like, you know what, these setbacks, I'm better than these setbacks. I'm not going to let them hold me back. And guys, the last thing I want to talk to you about today is courage. Courage, it's one of those words that we hear a lot, but we never really let it sink in. And for me, courage played a big part in my success, because growing up, I was, an overweight kid. I had a lot of mental issues, some anxiety, depression. I had a lot of things that could have held me back. And I dealt with a lot of fear growing up. Fear of what people would say about me, fear of being judged, just so much fear. And courage, it's really us being presented with another decision, guys. All three of these things I'm talking about today, they're not things you're born with. They're just simply decisions you have to make. And with courage is a decision that when fear comes into your life, you saying, okay, I feel you, fear, but I'm going to move anyway. Ooh, that's scary. I'm going to move anyway. Oh man, I don't know if I can do that. It's exactly why I'm going to go do that. That's all courage is. Courage is simply a decision. And I want to tell you a story about probably one of my top 5 favorite people in history, and that's Nelson Mandela. He, to me, really exemplifies what courage is. And I'm going to give you a real brief Cliff Note version of why he exemplifies courage. So in South Africa in the 60s, 50s and 60s, there was apartheid going on. Apartheid basically was racial segregation. And Nelson Mandela was fighting this racial segregation, and he wanted to unite his people, and he wanted to end the segregation. So he was fighting it. And finally, in 1964, the government arrested him and threw him in jail. They're like, hey, we don't like what you're doing. You're trying to overthrow the government. That's literally what they said. And you're going to go to jail. And they gave him life in prison for trying to end racial segregation. And what is so inspiring about Nelson Mandela is the courage that he showed when things weren't going his way. So here's a man that's been put in prison for trying to do the right thing. How many people, when they're trying to do the right thing and it doesn't go their way, would just give up? I mean, this guy's got sentenced to life in prison. Think about your own life. Think about the decision you would make in that situation. Would you give up? If we're honest, most people would. But Nelson Mandela didn't. He kept the hope alive. He kept this vision in his head of a brighter future. He kept this vision in his head of, I'm going to do this. I'm in prison right now, but you can't stop me from creating change. Think about how he absolutely could have been put to death. And there's so many people that wanted to just end him because he was creating so much turmoil and trying to create so much change. And here he is spending the majority of his life in prison, yet he never lost faith. He never lost touch with that vision of ending segregation. Just think about that for your own life. How much courage would you need to show to do those amazing things in your own life? Because look, life isn't easy, like we talked about. You're in a situation where it's not all sunshine and rainbows. And another sad stat that I hate to tell you is actually your zip code. If you don't go through a program like this and you never challenge and have courage to change your life, your zip code is actually the number one predictor of your success in life. That's a sad stat, and I don't like it either. But that's why you're here. You're here to say, you know what? That's where I was born. This is the situation I'm in. But I'm going to have a growth mindset. I'm going to persevere through the tough times. And I'm going to have courage to step up and step out and be the change that my community needs me to be. And, with Nelson Mandela, he was finally released from prison in 1990. And when they released him from prison, it wasn't because his sentence was up. They released him from prison because the entire time he was in prison, he was showing love. He was showing courage. He was showing perseverance. And his influence was spread so powerfully, and it became worldwide. This man is in prison showing courage through tough times, and he's showing perseverance through tough times, but he was having such an impact because he refused to give up. The entire world noticed, and the entire world put so much pressure on South Africa, they had no choice but to release him. And through that courage, he was released in 1990. 4 years later, he became the president of South Africa. Think about that. In 4 years, he went from prison to president through courage. And then he was able in 1994 to end segregation in South Africa and form the new South Africa that we know today. That is very, very racially diverse and free, and, really setting a precedence for what's possible. But that's my challenge for you today is, in those hard times, are you going to face the fear and do it anyway? Are you going to step up and keep that vision and that hope of what's possible? Keep that vision of your goals alive and saying, I know things aren't the way I want them. I know they're tough right now, but I'm going to keep going. I'm going to do this. And I'm just going to close with this, guys. I think for where we're at right now, this is a really, really powerful example of how we can better handle life. I was fortunate enough to be hired by a company this past year, and the name of the company was Buffalo Rock. And they're one of the largest distributors in the country for soft drinks. And I was talking to some of the guys for the company. I was doing some consulting with them, and this amazing story came up, and it's actually a true story. In Colorado, one of the amazing things about the state of Colorado, if you look at the topography, is Colorado is exactly divided in half. Half the state is the Colorado Rockies, right? That we all know and love. The other half of the state is the Colorado Plains. So it's one of the few states in the country that's actually divided in half and has two completely different topographies. And in that topography, what makes it crazy is you actually, because of the mountains, you have buffalo and cattle that roam together. Right? They're roaming in the same lands, and it's very rare that they do that just because it's two different species. And with the topography of the mountains and the plains, as the storms come rolling in, and what happens is the storms come from the west to the east, and they crest over the mountains and then just dump in the plains. And the plains are actually really fertile grounds, and that's why the buffalo and the cattle thrive there, is because of all the rains that come in. But the interesting part about this story, and the part that we can learn and apply to our own lives, is it's actually kind of funny. When the storms come rolling in, like you can literally see these storms come rolling in over the mountains, and they're heading right at you. Cows, when they see these storms, they get scared. Zero courage, right? They get scared and they run away. So a problem is coming at them, coming at their face, and instead of facing their problem, they turn and run from it. They run from the problem, but here's what happens. By running from their problem, they actually run with the problem. So this pain that's coming at them, they run with the pain, thus prolonging their pain, and they're stuck in their pain even longer. They're running with the storm. If we think about that, how many times do we do that in our own life? How many times do we have a problem come up, and instead of showing courage, we try to run away from it? We act like it's not there. A lot. It's what I used to do. It's absolutely what I used to do. I used to try to run away from everything and hoping it'd go away one day. And it just doesn't work. I hate to break it to you, but problems don't just go away, right? We can't just sweep them under the rug. It doesn't work like that. But the buffalo do something a little different. As the storm comes cresting over the mountains, the buffalo see the storm, and they actually charge the storm. They charge the storm with everything they have, and they run right through it. So where the cattle are actually running with the storm, the buffalo turn and face their problems. They see this challenge come their way and they take that challenge head on and they show courage, right? But by showing courage and facing their problems head on, they run right through it. And this potentially prolonged problem that the cattle are suffering through, the buffalo handle their problems. And that's what I want to leave you with today, guys, is challenge life. Challenge your story of what you can create in this life, and then charge it with everything you have. Problems are going to come, opportunities are going to come. Life is never the easiest, but if we can hard charge life and go after everything we know we deserve, not what society tells us we deserve, not what people who haven't achieved anything in life tell us we deserve, not negative people, not our friends that try to hold us down, not those stories, but what we know deep down inside of us we deserve. So today I challenge you to be the buffalo and challenge everything that comes your way in life and go out there and get what you deserve. So guys, that's what I have for you today. I hope you got something out of it. And once again, thank you so much for allowing me to be here.
There we go. Thank you so much, Robby. That was incredible. I was literally taking notes. Literally taking notes.
Good, good.
Wow, I am so inspired. You too, Joe.
Oh yeah.
Yes, yes, because that's what we do. And I really appreciate you for taking the time to be with us today. And just in these last few minutes, um, I was so impressed because one of the things you said was that of the four things that you said about having a growth mindset, having courage, overcoming fear, and challenging your story, you said that it all is a decision that you make.
Mhm.
And so many times if we're not careful, we let things happen to us and let life happen to us. But that's not the message I hear you saying. I hear you saying we have the right to choose. We have a decision to make. And so that's just so important. And I'm just really, really, I'm motivated myself. And
Uh-huh.
yeah, yeah. Norma, what did you get from the speech too?
Oh my goodness. I connected so well with the story about Nelson Mandela and how you were talking about his love and his passion. And I just thought of this term that I use with students all the time, that's having grit. You
Yes.
know, show your grit, have grit. And so, grit for me is having that perseverance and passion for your long term goals and not allowing anyone or any barrier to interfere in the direction that you're moving towards those goals. And that's showing grit. It's that decision, the determination to get there. So I just connected so well, and it came to my head. That's grit. That's what we
Yes.
talk about all the time, showing
100%.
grit. So
Yes.
strong message was wonderful.
Absolutely. Loved it. Loved it. And Joe, I know you have something. I know you
Well, I'll just say this. I've, again, had the pleasure to speak with Robby from stage multiple times. I've heard him speak. I can't even count how many times. I've been in the audience. I've been a note taker. And that was one of the things I wanted to mention. Here we are, okay, all very successful in our own regards, still taking notes. So for the young people out there, I'll tell you that if you're not taking notes, whether it be on your phone, on a piece of paper, something, some way, on a napkin, on your hand, it doesn't matter. These
do. Yeah.
are priceless nuggets of wisdom. And if I were to tally, the years that we have behind us and the experiences and whatnot, again, priceless. Okay. So I take full advantage of taking notes. But I'm going to tell you, for me, obviously, everything that Robby said was unbelievably impactful, and I've learned and I've taken notes. But I did write one thing down, and I made a star next to it. because for me personally, and everyone's going to get something different, but when he mentioned to hang on to your vision to create courage in your life, right? So you have that vision, and people call me a dreamer, and they have my entire life. They call me a dreamer. That term of dreamer or that label has now transitioned because as a youngster, I was a dreamer. I mean, I had dreams of doing unbelievable things all the time, every time, right? And that term dreamer has now turned into visionary. Okay. As a 45-year-old man, I'm a visionary now, and I take my vision very, very seriously. So, to any young person, I'm going to tell you, if you have a vision, if you have a dream, that's what's going to keep you in the game, right? Just like Michael Jordan, keep you in the game when life kicks your butt, okay? Because life is going to kick your butt. Is it not,
Yes.
Pierce? It is, okay?
Yes.
So when
Always.
that happens, your vision and your dream is what's going to keep you in the game. And that, you can call it your heart, you can call it whatever you want, but Michael Jordan had that inside of him. That's the thing that's not necessarily in your heart and not in your stomach where your butterflies come from. It's kind of in between. I don't even know where it's at. Solar plexus, maybe. I'm not sure, but it's just a little area that you have this feeling and and that's your vision. That's the part of you that's going to keep you going when the struggle gets real. And I failed to mention earlier, Robby is also an author, right? And one of the books that he co-authored is called "The Struggle Is Real," right? But one of his mottos is "The struggle is real, folks, but you are stronger." And that vision is what gives you that strength to continue on when life gets really tough and kicks your butt. So, thank you, Robby. Words of wisdom, man, priceless.
I appreciate that. And Rhonda, to go back to something that you pointed out, that decision-making process, what I love about that is we have zero control over outside events, right? That's not where our power lies. Our power truly lies in once we realize that we have 100% control over the decisions we make. And once that we internalize that, like I can't control you, I can't control anything other than the decisions I make, what you're doing is you're taking your power back. Every time you externally blame something else, and every time you put the victim card out there and saying it happened because of this or this person or blah, 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 you're giving your power away. But by realizing that my true power lies in my decision-making process, once we have that paradigm shift and internalize that, then we become powerful than we ever thought possible.
Exactly.
Absolutely. And I have an admission to make. Going through the course, the Dear Future Me course with the students and creating it has been so pivotal and life changing for me because I cannot avoid the fact that, okay, I have to practice what I preach. And going through the lessons and watching the students' responses and creating the content and even listening to you today, it's just revolutionizing me and changing the way I think about some things in my own life. And I'm like, well, this program wasn't even intended for me, but you can't help but be affected. And I think, as you mentioned about the growth mindset, that's something, if you have it, it's something that never goes away, no matter how old you get. You're
Right.
always thinking about, how can I be my better self? How can I improve? What can I do today to change my outcomes? And last week we talked about the principle of Kaizen and how it's a matter of continuous improvement, but it's not just about, I've got this great big goal, which is wonderful. It's, what do I need to do this year, this month, this week, today, to get to that great big goal? Because as John Maxwell said, your success is tied to your daily routines. And so I appreciate you and the rest of the team, your contribution today. Today's session just turned out so amazing. I'm just like, woohoo! I just appreciate you very, very much. And I do want to say, while we're still recording, um, the Dear Future Me program is a product of the Simmons Empowerment Foundation, and the program is set to improve college and career readiness for at-risk students. But because that is our vision for the program, our vision for our actual foundation is to have a home for unwed teen moms and to empower them through pre and postnatal health education, as well as job skills training, because we were going to talk about interviewing today, and also to offer coaching services like we're doing today. This is coaching at its best, if we will apply the principles, because being just a hearer only is not going to get the job done. And I wanted to say that the Simmons Empowerment Foundation, I'm so excited. This is the first time I'm announcing this. I met with my board this morning because we were offering scholarships this fall to young people, not just unwed teen moms, but to any student who meets the criteria listed on the application. And we were able to increase the amount of our scholarship to up to $1,000. And so,
Great.
if you thank you, we are so excited. And so, whenever someone is watching this broadcast on replay, if you will text the word graduate to 33777, you'll get a link to the scholarship application, because we're all about um, helping the next generation level up. We want to help you in whatever way we can possible get to your goal and your destination. And we know that money, it takes money, it takes help, and we've got great young people in our program from literally from all over the world, and we appreciate them. And so, again, if you text the word graduate to 33777, you'll get the link to the scholarship application. And so, thank you so much, all of you, for being here. And if anyone has any final words before we go.
Yeah, I want to say, I just typed it in the chat, but I just want to leave you with this. It is my favorite quote by Nelson Mandela, and it's, "May your choices reflect your hopes and dreams, not your fears."
Oh, wow. Wow, that is so cool. That is so cool. Just a minute. That is so cool that I'm about to throw that up on the screen as well. Oh, wait, not that one. Hold on. Hold on. You keep talking. I'm good. That was so good. And add banner. Here we go. And there we go. Wow, may your choices that is powerful. That
Very.
changes the game. That changes the game. That really, really does. And I really appreciate that, Robby, and I appreciate you for being here, and all of you. Um, And so, thanks again for joining us. And this will be posted in our Dear Future Me program. I'm so tempted to put this on our podcast too, uh, because it's just so good. It's a message worth hearing. People need to know um, that there's hope. And our tagline, our theme for our podcast is messages of hope, conversations that heal, and interviews that empower. And we just covered all the bases today. And thank you so much. I appreciate you all.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you. It was an absolute honor, and I appreciate you so much for all that you're doing as well.
Thank you. Thank you.